ready for another lesson?
What's up, everybody, and welcome back to Back Row Banter, your favorite casual movie talk podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Adam Schwartz, and on this week's episode, we'll be talking about the movie The Gentleman.
By popular demand.
By very popular demand, and by demand, I mean Jacek has demanded we watch this movie and won't let it go. But of course, before we get to any of that, I'm joined today, of course, by snobby Nathaniel Gingrich.
What up, folks? I'm snobby Nathaniel.
Super snobby. Did you get snobby over there when you were in the UK? How long were you there for? You said a year?
Yeah, a year and a half.
Year and a half.
Overall, I think.
You miss it?
Yeah.
Would
Yeah,
you ever see yourself moving there?
I think I could live there for extended periods of time. I don't know. How. I've never looked into how easy dual citizenship actually is, or something like that.
I don't think it's that easy.
Oh, okay. Well, darn.
I mean, what do I know? But knowing how immigration laws are nowadays, I feel like I hear stories all the time.
Probably not simple, but
Yeah.
I could definitely stay there for a few years. Who knows?
Yeah. What was your favorite part about being there? What do you miss the most?
I don't know. It's like, how am I? It's not like I lived a normal existence. I was in school too,
Sure.
so like,
Yeah.
I was pretty bubbled in
Sure.
a lot of ways. But I definitely think there is an overall differences in any culture. But one of the things that I think was definitely one of the things I admired or thought was a lot different was just everyone knocks off of work around 5. Like, even, it's just way more to, retail shops close at 5. Like, boutique shops close at 5. Everything closes at 5. That's not like a grocery store or a gas station. And then everyone or goes to a pub and restaurants or something like that. It's a lot more, I think, I don't know, like, conscious of people's time.
Oh, how considerate.
Yeah. I don't know. What am I trying to say? It just seemed like the pace of life was a little bit different, we'll say.
Understandable.
Which I think comes across in this movie, but...
Yeah, a little bit.
A little bit. Who knows?
Is UK the one that's testing out the 4-day work week?
No, I don't believe so.
Somewhere in the Europe is doing that. I don't know where. I could have sworn it was the
That
UK.
sounds like one of them, like, Scandinavian countries.
Yeah.
Like Sweden
definitely.
or like Norway
but
or
like
something
they said,
like that.
they went down to a 4-day work week and productivity shot up like 60%.
Yeah, probably.
Just because, there's people had less time to do their stuff, so they were just more active with the time that they had, but then also happier because they have the 3-day work week and, yeah, just way more productive because of it. Who knew?
Who? No.
I doubt we'll ever see that here.
You never know.
You never know. Also joining us today, of course, is White Widow Super Cheese Tie, Tyler Vidalis.
It's quite the name.
Yeah? You like it?
Yeah, I'm not mad at it. I don't think I've ever been mad at a name.
Good.
It
good.
just makes me think of that popcorn that you get in the bags, like the pre-pop popcorn that they use the cheddar flavoring instead of butter because it would taste weird or like screw up the popcorn or something.
It is good.
It is good. No, I like that stuff a lot.
Did you guys ever do the stovetop popcorn?
I feel like we've had this conversation before too, haven't
Oh,
we?
we might have.
We just
I've had that growing up.
I think the only reason I can think of why it's been brought up before is because when Leah's nephew stayed over, we did stovetop popcorn with him. So maybe that's when it came up.
Or the beginning of Scream. She's cooking
Oh,
the
yeah.
Roscoe stuff.
I think we did talk about it
Yep.
for Scream. Forgot about that part. Not my favorite type of popcorn, to be honest. But it's fun. It's fun,
I'm not really a huge fan of popcorn in general. I like it, but it's not like my go-to. It gets stuck everywhere and
I might be just
it's tough.
It's hard because when I go to the theater, like I instinctually want popcorn, but I think I just got to tell myself no at this point because every time I eat it, I feel like crap afterwards. Like my stomach.
Dude, I get real bloaty.
Yeah, my stomach just ain't feeling good, and it lasts a while. Like I don't feel
it's not
good
fun.
for hours, if not, maybe sometimes to the next day. Just don't. Yeah. Well, it doesn't last more than one day, but like I just don't feel good
Months.
at all after I eat popcorn.
Often.
So
Yeah,
I think I might be out.
I
on
would
it.
agree.
It sucks because it's an easy thing to get at the movie theater.
It is
cheapish.
good too. It's good, and it's just like it's one of those things when you do go to the theater, you're like, fucking popcorn would
Right.
just hit right now.
Right. But now
And
I don't
then
know
when
what
you
I'm
get
gonna
in
do.
there, I regret not getting it sometimes.
Exactly. So I don't know. Maybe I just need to eat less of it. Maybe it's the fact that I'm getting the large by habit and just eating the whole thing, and maybe
Yeah,
that's the problem.
Yeah, that's where you got to train yourself. You got
It's a
to.
lot of
It's a
popcorn.
lot
So
of popcorn.
The large popcorn is still the best deal, which is where they obviously try and get you.
It is.
So you
by-
got to
by
train.
a lot.
You just got to train yourself to just when you feel the rumbly tumblies coming, you just got to stop. Just got to stop. However far, like you eat a medium's worth of popcorn out of your large popcorn tub,
Right.
and then just call it quits, and then just you
It-
got to train yourself.
The way they structure those prices, it's real tricky, and they know it.
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Or alternative option, you just double down and build a cast iron stomach up for yourself just by coating it with popcorn oil. Like every time, you got to start using your 3 AMC Stubbs tickets a week
hmm
and just rifle in popcorn every
Right.
time you're there until
Right.
eventually your body will be
You're
dying.
immune.
But yeah, you will be immune to it.
And I become popcorn.
Yep.
All right.
I was an Orville Redenbacher's Smart Pop, I think like 94% butter, fat free or whatever,
Mm.
whatever they call that version of health or whatever they have it branded as.
Mhm.
Fiend in college. I would buy it.
Oh.
I would buy it the 40 packs from Costco, and they came in a box
Damn.
that was like a shoebox size thing.
Yeah.
It was great.
Damn.
I would have those. I would just have it in my dorm room in college. I loved it, and it wasn't
My,
super like
I'm
buttery.
sure
but
everyone on your floor loved it too.
the smell of popcorn.
yeah, the
of all
smell of
time.
popcorn all the time. That motherfucker is
Mine
cooking it
Mine
again.
was a pop secret home
Yeah.
style butter.
There you go.
The Pop Secret
It was-
is my go-to at home popcorn. Yeah.
It was
No.
unmatched.
My man Orville Redenbacher holding down.
not bad.
Fans of M&Ms in popcorn.
I'm pro
They
candy
just get
and popcorn.
runny. M&M's just like you end up with the
That's the trade-off there.
the egg colored fingers from Easter egg dipping.
Yeah.
Yeah, whatever. That's cool though.
But
Your
I
hands are
like
gonna be
I
all
like when it
fucked up
gets
from
runny
butter
because
anyways.
it gets runny on the popcorn, and then you kind of just get some popcorn that's just got chocolate
Hey
on
man, I'm not knocking the recent popcorn and Nerds gummy cluster.
it. That's well.
Combo.
Wait a
I have
second.
not seen that.
I can't say I've put my Nerds. I was with you with the Nerds gummy clusters. Those are fantastic. But
Just chuck 'em in your
with,
popcorn.
move-
with the popcorn,
The pro move if you don't want to do M&Ms is cookie dough bites.
Oh, that's my
Yeah.
go-to with or without popcorn. I just love the cookie dough bites. Those are my go-to.
Yeah.
If at movie theater, that's my go-to for sure.
Off track early.
Very often. That's fine.
It's movie adjacent, movie theater
It
snack.
is. It is. Of course, rounding out the squadron is Big Blackmail BlakeHolder.
What up?
Movie
Haven't
popcorn.
blackmailed anybody though.
Good.
So,
That's a good thing. I would
I
hope.
was gonna
Is
say
it
we
legal?
should just say that like we'll just want to reference the act of blackmail, not the fact that Blake is a blackmail.
Oh.
So
Did not
See, now that's actually a
associate
good point. That
at
actually
all.
went over my
that
head.
went way over my head too. Now I feel like I should cut that. I'm scared.
No,
Yeah, I'm concerned.
No worries. I didn't take any offense. You're
All right.
to
you
quote
got a blackmail
Jesus.
pass card for me.
to quote the film we're talking about. I'm gonna have to check your grammar there.
Yeah, it looks a lot better in writing
Yeah.
than it does spoken out loud.
Yeah. How did you spell it? Did you actually do blackmail as like that,
Oh,
or did you say like
Yeah.
blackmail as in like my physical features?
Yep.
It's to
the
spell it
second
out
one.
for everybody, just so we're clear.
Hyphenated.
BLACKMAIL. Okay, let's all make sure we're on the same
That's
page
funny
here.
as hell.
Thanks, Ty. Appreciate you making me sweat.
Can
a
you
little
imagine
bit
you
there.
wrote blackmail? And he looks at it and he's like, that looks right.
Yeah.
Yeah, but no, I've never blackmailed anybody. Is that illegal? Like in a real
Yes.
Yeah, I think so.
Yes.
Very much so.
And it's a tricky situation
I mean, it makes
because
sense.
if you're getting blackmailed, it's not really something you can go like, hey, that's illegal. It's like, usually they've got something against you that's going to stop you from coming forth with that information.
That's why.
Yeah.
That's why it's so dangerous.
Yeah. So it's illegal, but it's kind of hard to stop even though it is illegal. But yeah, can't say I've done that either. Hopefully I don't have to.
Any other crimes anyone want us to casually what's the word I'm looking for? Why did it just go out of my head? I want to say commit to.
Confess.
That's the one.
Yeah.
Confess to.
One time on a podcast, I called someone
you
big
libeled
black male Blake. That's the crime I've got to confess to.
If you ever become a prominent figure in 30 years from now, and you're famous,
I'm toast, bro.
You probably will end up being fired through somebody hearing this podcast.
It's already. It's out on an AI blender. It's got got Adam's voice.
Senator Adam Schwartz said black male.
Yeah, right. That's funny as hell.
I want to move on real quick.
They got a testimony from Blake. I'm sorry. All right, I'm done.
Okay. Do I have any crimes to confess to? Is that what you asked?
Well, you asked Blake if you'd ever done any blackmail.
I didn't ask him that.
Oh, he just volunteered.
He just volunteered that information.
I want to clear the record that I, in fact, have not blackmailed anybody.
Fair enough. It's on the record.
I definitely stole like candy bars as a kid once, for sure.
That's not blackmail. Though. That's just like theft.
Well, I thought
we're confessing our crimes.
Okay,
we're confessing our
I've
sins.
stolen,
This
like,
is reconciliation
candy
here
for sure.
Yeah.
I honestly have never really stolen anything from a store. Not that I can think of, at least maybe not intentionally. I don't know, maybe I accidentally grabbed some. I never have been like, oh, I'm going to take that and just not pay for it.
Here's the cover. I accidentally grabbed this, Dad. Like, it's my fault.
The G-rated version of this conversation are pen thieves.
No, I don't usually.
Same thing. Those are the same people, though.
They cross in the same groups. Yeah,
for sure. You hand it to them, they use it, and they pocket it immediately right in front of you. No remorse, and it goes over your head.
I don't steal pens.
Have you ever?
I've had pens stolen.
I mean,
from me.
if you got a pen that you like using and you got it loans out and it never comes back, that is a
Best Buy 305 amazes me at how things just vanish from thin air. Because you know, I've seen it countless times where someone will refill a pencil cup chock full of Bic pens, and I come back 2 days later and there's like 3 of them.
Oh no,
left.
yeah. No.
I just don't know where they go because
the store's a lawless wasteland when it comes to pens.
Yeah,
it's every man for himself. I have a stash of pens. Like I'm an unabashed pen scavenger in that store.
I need to be there for when they lift everything up. All the registers and all of the desks, like all the tables, the answer centers. I just can't wait to see what stuff they find under there that has accumulated over God knows how many years. I don't know when that store opened, or like when's the last time they moved a lot of stuff around. But it's, the mobile answer center for me especially has been the same since I started, and I know for a fact they have not really cleaned up much around there. So like there is definitely things under there that are
living.
Probably at this point. The Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles might be under there somehow. I don't know. Well, with all that fun banter being had, I think it might be time to roll on over to the main review segment. Nathaniel here. If the listener here is new or maybe they've just forgotten, can you give them a rundown of how the review segment works?
What up, folks? If you're new or maybe you've just forgotten, the way the review segment works here on Back Row Banter is it is split into 2 sections. There is the non-spoiler section, then there's the spoiler section. It's pretty self-explanatory. In the non-spoiler section, we'll go over the movie's IMDb page, who wrote it, who directed it, who's in it, all of that good stuff. And then we'll go around the quadrant. We'll decide if we recommend this movie. It has to be a yes or no. There is no nuance on the internet. And from there on, we will go into spoiler time. If you don't want to have anything spoiled for you, go ahead and check out, but check back in from the time posted in the episode notes. And after the spoiler talk and any big plot summary or big plot reveals, we'll see where this ranks on our Entropy list, which is our big list of everything we've watched on the podcast ranked. With that, Adam, tell me about The Gentleman.
I would love to. This is not a new movie. This came out in the year
of our Lord,
The Year of Our Lord 2019. That was a good one. I like it. Year of Our Lord 2019, rated R with a runtime of 1 hour and 53 minutes and an IMDb rating of 7.8 out of 10. Written and directed by Guy Ritchie. Also writing credits to Ivan Atkinson and Marn Davies, with the story editor by Lauren Bond. We'll give her that credit there as well. The cast includes, hang on here with me, folks. It's a decent one. Matthew McConaughey, Charlie Hunnam,
check.
Michelle Dockery,
Yep,
Jeremy Strong,
present.
Colin Farrell,
Accounted for.
Lynn Renee,
Here,
Henry Golding,
definitely.
who some might know from Crazy Rich Asians.
Indeed.
And who am I missing here? I think Hugh Grant, of course. How can you miss him? I think I'll mainly leave it there. That's most of the big cast. Am I missing anyone? Who's I am missing. Oh wait, no, I'm not. Jeremy Strong. That's who I was thinking of. He's here. He's been checked him off the attendance list. Anyone else I'm missing, Nathaniel?
The only one I can think of would be Eddie Marsan as Big Dave.
Yes.
Did we say Colin Farrell?
We did say Colin Farrell.
Then we're good.
Who's fantastic, of course. The IMDb summary of the movie reads as follows: An American expat.
Expat, yeah.
What does that mean?
An expatriate.
Oh, okay, cool. That's what I thought after I asked that question, but glad I could confirm. Thanks. Master's degree really getting some good use. Make sure you pay your student loans. Pay that debt back.
Maybe.
Yeah. An American expat tries to sell off his highly. Do you have any crimes you need to confess to, Nathaniel?
Is it a crime or was I a victim?
That's a good question.
All the above.
It's a good question. An American expat.
The only criminals around here
is
the government.
Okay. Jesus.
Cut it all out.
Cut it all. Cut. An American expat tries to sell off his highly profitable marijuana empire in London, triggering plots, schemes, bribery, and blackmail, BLACKMAIL, in an attempt to steal his domain out from under him.
That's it.
Fucking Guy Ritchie.
Yeah.
It's just that simple,
Yeah, walk me through this here. So obviously Tyler and I have seen this.
My first watch.
Your first watch. Blake's first watch, I'm guessing, as well too?
I think so. Is he?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, he's off screen. Yeah.
But is this... Have we done any Guy Ritchie yet? I don't think so.
I don't think
right?
so either. I was looking at his
I thought we did one.
DB.
The only one I could think that we might have done would have been Aladdin. But no, we definitely
did not do Aladdin. Let me see.
I think this is the first one for the pod.
I think so too.
Is this the first one you've seen, though, is my question.
It actually might be. Because I'm familiar. Oh, Sherlock Holmes. We haven't done on the pod.
Sure.
I've seen both of those. But I think those are the only ones of his that I've seen. I haven't seen Man from U.N.C.L.E., which I've heard is okay.
Yeah, it's pretty decent.
And I think that's it. I think that's all I've seen. Be this and then the two Sherlock Holmes movies.
You got to go to Snatch,
Okay.
Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels.
Okay. I see Revolver on here. I've heard of Revolver.
Revolver.
The Covenant.
That's his newest one, I think, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. And then...
Oh, is that the Jake Gyllenhaal one?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, Snatch and Lock, Stock, I think, are his two big ones.
Dude, I thought for sure we had
this
something
dude did
of
an
him on
Aladdin
here.
movie. That's bizarre.
He did, yeah.
Okay. Good for him. He's got some diversity.
Married to Madonna.
Interesting. Good
Yeah.
for him. Good for him. All right. But yeah, my first watch, you said Blake, yours as well.
Correct.
Blake, kick us off here then. What are we thinking here? As my first watch cohort.
I kind of went into it blind. I mean, obviously I knew it's a big recommendation from Yazik. But familiar with the cast, so I went in pretty blind, but obviously with like decent expectations, not thinking I was gonna watch like a fast food garbage movie. And pretty much met my expectations. Matthew McConaughey is quietly becoming like one of my favorite actors.
He's the best.
For sure. I was always rocking like a Jake Gyllenhaal, right? Kind of that path. But yeah, Matthew McConaughey between Interstellar, True Detective, even just him and the small scenes he has in The Wolves of Wall Street.
Sure.
So yeah, Matthew McConaughey, he's good, man.
Rain of Fire.
I like him a lot. Yeah, I like him a lot. So then even Colin Farrell and the cast is good. So yeah, I mean I would recommend, but I think anybody who's into cinema and film have probably seen this by chance, right? I think we said I'm the first. This is my first watch.
My
correct?
first as well.
Yeah, I mean,
okay.
This is definitely one that I think snuck under a lot of people's radar. Like, it's definitely like
100%.
Like a lot of people, like the vast majority of them, would not have seen this one. I don't think so. I think hopefully doing this on the pod, a few more people will check it out as well too, because it's fun. It just got kind of like when it was released, it was just kind of like, I don't know if it was just wrong timing or what. It was just, or if there was other things going on, because I think it was 2019 or something.
I want to see when in 2019 this release.
Yeah, it was just kind of. I remember going to see it in the theaters myself, and there was maybe 10 other people there. But
it kind of got lost in the blip a little bit too, because I don't remember when it came out in 2019.
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering. Is like, did it come out at
like
end of 2019?
It may have. Yeah, it may have caught like the.
I want to say it was
I think
early.
it was January.
Yeah, I want to say it was
actually
early.
January.
Okay. So it might have been. Yeah. Was it still dealing with like Endgame hangover then?
Maybe it was just like
well, Endgame was May
just fly under the radar through the theaters, and then COVID hit and nobody found it.
Oh, this was January 24th, 2020, technically.
Oh,
or I think was it's.
Oh, okay.
Here, the gentleman premiered
on the radar somewhere.
The gentleman premiered at the Curzon Mayfair Cinema on December 3rd, 2019. It was released theatrically in the United Kingdom on January 1st, 2020. And in the United States on January 24th, 2020.
Yeah, so it
that's
was right
why
before COVID really took over everything.
Yeah, that is sliding under the...
Yeah, COVID was on the radar, though, for sure.
Yeah, it was definitely...
It was on the come up, as they say.
Yeah. January movie that could have gotten a little bit more of a run, but kind of just happened to kick off right when things started melting down.
Yeah. Because I remember you and I talking about this in the store.
Yeah.
We're like, dude, we should go see it. And then we never went and saw it together.
Absolutely. All around, I'd say as a cast, well, as an ensemble piece, well done. But we completely just cut off Blake. Blake, you were talking about just seeing this for the first time as well, too.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, like I said, it was I don't want to say a pleasant surprise, right? Because I had an understanding, right, of what the film entailed and kind of the cast. So yeah, definitely met my expectations. Didn't really have too many complaints about the runtime. There's even kind of some different themes in there, like Colin Farrell that had some certain themes, and there's even things of discussing things with like racism and things of that nature that's certainly appealing. So we'll jump into it. Come spoilers, but yeah, I would say I'd highly recommend.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I think I'm definitely recommend. I'll start off there. Also went in pretty much completely blind outside of just knowing kind of the cast. Outside of that, I went in relatively blind, like Blake said, and just off the extremely high recommendation from Mr. Yasik. I would say like coming out of it too. I'll get into more of this in spoilers, but this is certainly one of I feel like this is one of the best all-around movies I've seen. Just there's a little bit of everything for everyone. There's good characters, good writing. It's funny, but it's got a good story that's got consequences, and there are some tense scenes. There are some funny scenes that I don't know. It's just got there's some action scenes. Like it's just got a little bit of everything all around mixed in. And it's very engaging the whole way through and through. The way the story is told is not really unique by any means, but it's very, very well done and works very effective and like how it's set up and everything. Just really well made all around. I don't know. There's not like a lot of bad things I could say about this movie. It kind of starts and doesn't stop, and then it's over, and I just had a great time.
I would describe it as a caper.
Elaborate, please.
Just in terms of its tone, like a classic caper.
Okay.
Or a romp. I'm thinking of another word for a romp.
Yeah, I don't know if caper's the word. Isn't that a food?
No, you're thinking of...
A caper is a food.
Yeah, that's where my mind went.
Do you think are they like tiny fish?
Capers are like the little capers are here. They're like the little green things you find in foods. I don't know how to
little green things you find in food, folks.
I don't know. Well,
are they a vegetable?
Are they a bean? I don't know how else to describe them.
Are they a legume?
They're more legumey, yeah. But I'm showing you pictures here, Nathaniel, for visual.
Oh.
But I can't really describe them beyond that.
It's exactly like this film. It's a small green object, and you eat a lot of them.
Right. You're right on there. Okay. What word were you trying to think of? Because I don't think it was caper.
No, it is caper.
Okay.
I'm sticking with it. I'm doubling down.
Good, as you should.
Yep.
Okay.
Anyways, where were we with this? You were talking about. Oh, what I was going to say was you are, by interacting with Guy Ritchie here as your starting point, you are kind of like coming into him in like in some ways as a fully, or I guess a more mature artist in some ways, I'd say as well too. And I think that does come across in the film structure, in that this is not his first rodeo working with multiple storylines or multiple timelines.
I could tell I could tell it was I haven't seen many Guy Ritchie films, but then the movie opened up and I was like, oh, there's some artistry here.
Yeah.
He's got his hands all over this thing. I could tell I was watching. I knew instantly what a Guy Ritchie film is just from the opening scenes.
Yeah, so it's style arguably over substance, folks would say, but it's definitely stylized world. A lot of punchy dialogue, obviously. Definitely kind of a rhythm to everything, and it's tit for tat, beat for beat, that kind of back and forth a lot.
Yeah.
And then you get it that also reflected in the camera work, back and forth, quick cuts between different stories, or one leading into the other by a line of dialogue or something like that. So yeah, it's definitely, like I said, competently made and crafted at this point, and definitely it's like a little clockwork. You set it up and you watch it go, and there's a place for movies like this.
Yeah, definitely.
It's an enjoyable, I think the one we come back to that we kind of first talked about on the podcast was Bullet Train or something like that, where it is just kind of a turn your mind off or engage with it on whatever level you want to come at it at, but there is going to be something there for a wide audience to enjoy.
Yeah. I think this is a little more... don't take that out of context, listener, if you've seen Bullet Train and you haven't seen this. I think it's a little more sophisticated than that.
Sure.
But along the same lines, I think, where it's just kind of like there's not a ton of takes super seriously here. It is just a good time, and you should just have a good time with it, right?
It's an absurd film about absurd people in some ways.
Yeah. And the characters are great, like I said. I think you're kind of rooting for a lot of the people on screen, and the acting is great.
Very colorful characters.
Yeah, Jeremy Strong here, fantastic. Wasn't expecting him to pop up.
This was one of my first interactions with him before I'd seen Succession.
Exactly, 2019. I don't think a lot of people were in on that yet. At least I wasn't, especially.
This was definitely my first one of that, in which if you see him versus what he's playing in Succession, it's a completely different vocal register as
100%,
well, too.
Yeah, and it really made me... I was impressed because I expected it to kind of wear off or break a little bit, and he stayed pretty strong and pretty true to his what he was going for the whole movie, and I was kind of impressed with it. It was a little jarring to see, just because I feel like his character in Succession is probably closer to how he is day to day.
You would think,
in terms of how he talks and stuff like that. So it doesn't seem like he's acting as much in Succession. It seems like he's acting a little bit more here, but he pulls it off.
Tyler?
It's good stuff, man.
It is good.
Sorry. Big fan of Guy Ritchie. Seen a lot of his stuff, so was very excited to see him kind of come back to the crime kind of movies that he is really good at shooting versus Aladdin, where he obviously probably had his hands tied a lot by Disney and things of that nature. So it was very cool to see this movie for him coming off something like that. And he just hadn't had like a good banger in a minute. And I think this kind of really hit all my kind of key points for having a really great movie. Plots are relatively tight. Acting is killer by everybody for the most part. I think Hugh Grant kind of steals the show a little bit, despite how many people are on screen in this movie. But other than that, I had a ton of fun with it. Action's good. Sound effects are good. Accents are good. And so, yeah, I had a lot of fun. I'm a recommend for sure.
Yeah, this is one of the ones where I was like, man, I wish Charlie Hunnam did more things in his natural accent and just like got to be. I want Charlie Hunnam in more things, is what I'm saying.
Green Street Hooligans.
There you go.
I really like how he capers in this movie.
He capers very well. I'm telling you, look up caper in terms of film.
Okay, caper film.
That's gonna find a film called Caper.
You're right, but you just had to look it up. No film called Caper. Oh wait, never mind. Caper, the caper story is a subgenre of crime film. The typical caper story involves one or more crimes perpetrated by the main characters in full view of the reader. The actions of police or detectives attempting to prevent or solve the crimes may also be chronicled, but are not the main focus of the story. I don't know if that fits.
I'll accept your apology. No, it's fine.
Is that what the story is? Would you call it a caper?
They not doing full crimes and fully in front of the viewer? It's all about them selling weed, Adam, which is a crime in England.
No, it's legal. Here.
And there's even paperweights that shoot bullets.
Okay. I'm not convinced. This is only Wikipedia after all.
Yeah.
It could be fake.
It could be anything.
I think you put it here. Is that what you did when you went to the bathroom?
I work quick.
Yeah.
I put my master's degree minions on it.
There you go. All right. Well, that's a recommend all around then, yeah, gents?
Yes, I am a recommend.
All right. The other two didn't say anything, but I think they were recommends.
Blake is currently muted, so I'm gonna guess that he is dealing with something else.
I agree. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. You're good. All right. With all that being said, we're going to go ahead and head into spoilers. So if you've not seen The Gentleman and do not want it spoiled for you, go ahead, check that episode description where I've left a timestamp. You could jump to where you'll be taken to the ranking of the movie up upon our Entropy list. Spoiler time, Nathaniel.
Delicious capers. That's my spoiler noise this week.
Wow, I don't like that. I'm surprised you didn't know caper was a food.
I mean, no. I'd only ever feasted on them in the cinema sense. You know, on all my my crime capers I'd consumed as content.
Wow.
You're just coming at this from different approaches, man.
Apparently, I can't say I'm with you. All right, gents. This is a fun movie, man. I had a good time with this one.
Yeah,
really good time. I don't know where. I don't know where. Colin Farrell. We haven't talked about Colin Farrell yet. He's on screen right now.
Do you want to talk about? Do you want to talk what we normally talk about in spoiler time, which is a spoiler noise, and then we go into saying shit goes down?
That's what I did already, dude.
We didn't say shit goes down.
Okay, shit goes down.
Shit goes down.
Yeah, you said the spoiler noise was you saying I enjoy capers or something like that.
I know.
What did you say? Okay, yeah, and then that means we're in spoilers. No?
Shit goes down.
Thank
okay,
you.
Okay, cool.
Now that I feel like we're all here and all on the same page. Yeah,
Right,
shit
we're-
does
we-
go down.
So Colin Farrell, huh?
Colin Farrell, who has, I guess, some of the bigger spoilery moments of the plot. It is his team of lads that kind of set
What do they
into
call
motion
themselves? The little posse?
the toddlers.
The toddlers, yeah.
Who set into motion kind of the events of the movie and everything that would surround all of the problems of Matthew McConaughey's character, Mickey Pearson, trying to sell his illegal marijuana business to other dealers in this crime caper. But yeah, I think Colin Farrell's great. I think this is, again, going back to structure, this is what Guy Ritchie is really good at, is kind of taking a crime or the events surrounding a crime or even just the criminal world and how it interrelates and reacts with kind of everyone else and how it's part of a daily life kind of thing. And then you end up following it from really start to finish, but you may not always be interacting with it in the same linear timeline, basically. You may be coming into it at one point or starting with one characters and ending up with another group of characters on both sides of the crime a lot of times, both as like the people that are victimized or the ones doing the perpetrating, and sometimes your loyalties and who you enjoy is going to switch back and forth multiple times, generally accompanied by a very colorful cast of characters.
Mhm.
And in this, I think, they are, the highlights of those are Colin Farrell as Coach, our Charlie Hunnam as Raymond, or Matthew McConaughey as Mickey Pearson, and our aforementioned Jeremy Strong as I can never remember his name because I always just think of him talking about the Mossad crabs, because that's the line that sticks in my head the most.
Oh,
What is his name in there? Jeremy Strong's character.
Matthew.
Matthew, yes. All those guys are just at the top of their game and drawing you in as they move from very fun scene to very fun scene to very fun scene. I think the pacing is always a really highlight of Guy Ritchie movies, and I think in this one, it does a really good job of packing a ton of information and covering a ton of ground in a relatively tight runtime. I've talked for a lot.
That was a nice little caper of a description of the movie.
You're welcome.
Good job.
I laid that all out there in front of you.
Yeah, thank you. I don't know what else needs to be said.
Way to cape.
Yeah. I think one of the highlights for me, I've mentioned it pre-pod, the characters are just so great. They're so well written. Each one very, very distinct, has such a great personality. I think Hugh Grant is my favorite.
Yeah.
Hugh Grant's fantastic in this. Probably, I can't say I've seen a ton of Hugh Grant stuff, but of the stuff of his that I have seen, this is probably my favorite. By a lot, actually. He's just really good. He's really funny, and just his line delivery and everything.
He's playing a dirtbag PI. It's great.
Yeah, it is great. And just the way he goes about telling the story, just really well written all around there. And then I like the like Matthew McConaughey's character and what they do with him in terms of where they had those flashes of like, this is also Guy Ritchie or Hugh Grant's characters a little bit too, but where the flashes where he's like goes kind of rogue.
Yeah.
And it's like, of course they mentioned it's like Hugh Grant's imagination, whatever. But I just like that they did that with his character. It wasn't just Hugh Grant telling the story the whole time. It was kind of like, oh, you are still getting like, even though we're watching a lot of these events, they're pretty close. Like at the end of the day, like these are still exaggerations, which are fun.
Yeah, it's an unreliable narrator, and then it's playing on itself as a movie.
Right.
And the fact that it is a heightened version of events and heightened storytelling anyways.
And he's telling it, and you can tell he's like telling it as a screenplay that he has shown you he's already written.
Yes.
like he's already got the screenplay down. So he's already thought about it in these grandiose ways, and has kind of come up with his own plot per se, which is very fun.
In terms of like a spoilery twist or anything like that, I wouldn't say it's necessarily something like that. It's more just the true events of what happened kind of just unfold in front of you. and then there are a few things that it just does tie up at the end. Like as we were watching it the first time, I think Waz was next to me, and it was his first time watching it, and he was like, "Oh my God, are the toddlers going to save everyone here at the end?" Which is exactly what ends up happening. The toddlers pull in front of the Russian group and just machine gun everyone in the front of them, and it is that perfect, like, as the audience, you're putting it together one step before the film is giving it to you, and that creates just that emotion, that elation at the end of the movie of like getting to solve it with the movie itself,
right?
And that's just
it eases you along. It makes you feel like you're part of the movie a little bit more.
Again, it's a movie that cares about its audience. It's a movie that cares about how that it is obsessed with storytelling on a certain level, and that it is a dedication of itself to storytelling.
I mean, the events of the movie are being told as a story itself,
right?
Yeah.
And so I think it gets to it. Every move it is making towards the end of the movie is playing along that and playing the most heightened movie version of that as well too. Haven't talked about Michelle Dockery yet. I think she's another little great addition to this cast as Roz. And Matthew McConaughey's partner in his
love interest.
Yeah, in his illegal exploits. And again, it's a weird movie where even though Matthew McConaughey's Mickey Pearson is kind of positioned as the lead character, you almost spend more time with like Raymond and Fletcher, Hugh Grant's character as well too, as they're the ones that are, relating the story and everything, and they're our point of view characters. But yeah, still fun.
Super fun, super smart. Excuse me. Fletcher is basically Guy Ritchie. Like, it's just that's where he would implement himself in this story.
You mean the Hugh Grant character?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
In my opinion, like that, if like that's where kind of, because Hugh's kind of telling the story in my mind in this, and so that's where I feel like Guy Ritchie would implement himself if he actually like built himself into this, especially because like he's got his own screenplay. He's taking it to Miramax films, and this is a Miramax film, and kind of all that stuff, and so it's just smart. And how he talks about how he wants it shot in like a different angle or camera lens or something. So, and that's like Guy Ritchie's, kind of like, fuck you, we should be making movies like this.
Yeah, it's definitely like, that's one criticism I will have, is like, if you are aware of Guy Ritchie, it almost reads as just like Guy Ritchie just putting his favorite things in a movie and tying it all together, which is impressive nonetheless. But like
weed and capers.
Well, no, not even that, but just like, I mean, yes, but also like, he's a person, like, I think he's like a black belt in jiu-jitsu.
Oh,
so like
that was a funny line.
Yeah, like,
sorry, sir, I'm only a blue belt.
But no, he is like, in terms of, he is tapped in as a fan to the MMA world and everything, and like and that kind of thing. That's, he's going to put it in his movie. He'll have five guys that just happen to be MMA fighters that are also criminals, and like, he came up in the crime caper genre, so that's always going to be a little bit of his stomping grounds as well too. And like again, just kind of like even Mickey Pearson's tone and like his outlook on life that he's narrating throughout the film of, there can be no doubt, because doubt caused chaos and one's own demise, and pull yourself up and make things work, and like, you're not a member of the landed gentry, but you've learned how to navigate them and everything. All of those just really speak, I think, to Guy Ritchie's own ethos and that kind of thing. But again, I think that's also what this movie is playing into as well. It knows its strengths and it's going to play into them. And, instead of saying, I want to push the genre forward, it's saying, I want to be just a good example of where we are with it right now. And that's fun.
Agreed. I'm a really big Charlie Hunnam fan. If anybody knows me, they probably know that. I'll
else
watch
would I
pretty much
know
any
him
movie that he's
from?
in.
Isn't
King Arthur.
it Legend of the Sword?
Oh, also Guy Ritchie.
Yeah, and,
You know who else is in that? What was her name from Barbarian? I'm pretty sure she was in it.
Babaran.
Oh, maybe she wasn't. I could
Yeah, I
have
don't
sworn.
think
I
so.
could have sworn I saw it on her IMDb. Okay, I take it back. Never mind.
But where were we talking about? Where were we going with that?
Charlie Hunnam.
Charlie Hunnam.
Pacific
Yeah,
Rim.
that was what I was
Pacific
going to
Rim.
say. Yeah.
Ah, yeah.
Is it Whiskey Danger?
Yeah.
Is that the robot
He's
they
Raleigh
pilot?
Beckett.
Raleigh.
Raleigh. It's Raleigh. Shut up, you piece of shit. But yeah, I'm a big fan of Charlie.
I was gonna say,
if you
where were
haven't
we
watched, I was just saying I was a big fan of him. I love his character in this. He's just so fucking cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, he is.
Like, he's cool in everything that he does, but like, this is like how I think Charlie just like operates on a daily basis. Like, he's fucking cool. He's calculated. Yeah, he's just got this gusto about him. He's a fucking baller in this. I love it.
What was that line he had where he was like, "Well, actually, sir, gravity killed him."
Yeah. People keep pushing.
And then Matthew McConaughey later is like, "Man, you should invest in some parachutes." Yeah, it's so good, man. So witty. I like it. I'm a fan. And the Wagyu was hilarious. Top or bottom? Bottom, please.
Yeah. Hugh Grant just being a weird creep.
He's so funny.
I think my favorite character is definitely still Colin Farrell's coach.
Coach is great.
Is just a
You can't help
lunatic.
but love him.
Yeah, a lunatic, but trying to steer
Trying to
his
do
guys.
right, but also doing a lot of wrong.
Yeah, he's had to do some gangster things,
Yeah. 3 strikes and I'm out.
and I think it also again that it gets down to somewhat of the tone of this movie, that it is like juxtaposing like these guys that are proper gentlemen and all that kind of stuff, and then doing horrible things. And
Yeah.
and just was, but like looking at it with this tone of just like, well, that's you played by the rules, you got caught, like that's what you got to do.
Yeah.
Everyone pays the same price kind of thing, but in reality is this insane, awful world. But
Really quick, I love how they introduce Colin Farrell's character, the deli scene.
the scene in the
Yeah,
cafe,
which is a great way to like introduce a character where you think, oh, this is going to be more about an introduction to the toddlers, and it kind of is, but it's actually his character who, I don't know, just a very good introduction to it all.
I'll wet ya.
Yeah, I don't know. Do we have any big points to touch on? Blake, you've been a little quiet over there. You got any big things you want to talk about here?
Yeah, I mean, like I was saying, I like Matthew McConaughey. I love Colin Farrell's character. The small scene where they're in like the boxing practice gym is actually really funny. It was like the British, obviously I think they're all British. But yeah, then like he calls him a cunt. He calls him a black cunt, and he's like, what? That's racist, man. You can't say that. He called me a black cunt, and then he was like, yeah, but the fact that I'm black has nothing to do with the reason I'm a cunt, or something like that. It was definitely pretty funny. Funny.
That was a good line.
Yeah, and Colin Farrell, you can see just a very level-headed person, like for the most part through that entire scene. So he's kind of like, well, I don't think he means it that way. You're an asshole.
In fact, I'd say it came from a place of love.
Yeah. So yeah, it's good. I mean, overall though, I mean, I like it. I don't have a ton of thoughts like spoiler wise. I feel like you guys have hit most of them, but I definitely was pleasantly surprised.
It is a film, I will say, that like, even though we are enjoying it on a certain level, like I think it is something that does hit on a slightly different level, even for like folks over in the UK. Like even that scene we're talking about, which I won't repeat the phrasing of the words there, but then I think the character, I think that's Ernie that he's talking to. He's like, well, the other guy that called him a black C-bomb, he's like, well, he's a gypsy, but I'd never call him a pikey, which is like to us is like that's kind of weird, but you have to understand like that is a very British thing as well too, and that like pikey would be a very or an equivalent term as well too in terms
slur.
of negativity. Yes, slur. Thank you.
I'm thinking of all your words today.
Yeah, but appreciate it.
Yeah, of course.
Helping me out a
I
lot.
have just nothing but a caper here trying to help you out.
But yeah, and then like I think there is, and to my point, what I'm trying to say is, as good as it is and as accessible as it is, even for us, there is a Guy Ritchie as it being a British movie and a British film, which are the same thing. It works on another level as well there too. Yeah. Sorry, I kind of lost my train of thought there at the end, or where I was trying to tie all that up.
Yeah, you're good. Cool. I like there's the bit where the fuck guy just such a subtle bit they kind of slip in there that goes a little bit a little bit underrated given the jokes that are in the rest of the film. I don't know. I thought it was a funny little bit, and they kept going back to it, and it was funniest. For me, it was funniest when King George goes back to Dry Eye, and just they don't even mention it because every other time he's talked about, they're like his name's Fuck with the PH, and then they just don't even mention it later on. Good bit there, lots of good bits throughout the movie. Really enjoyed it.
Yeah, it's a dialogue. It's a movie that you could tell comes from a script. It's written. It's not something that they're coming up with
Not a lot of improv.
Yeah, not coming with a snappy comeback on the day.
Right.
The jokes are in the script itself.
Yeah, that's a good point. Well thought out, well written. Definitely a good watch all around. All right, I think that's gonna do it then for spoilers. Yeah.
Yep.
Cool. All right, well then, welcome back, listeners who skipped over the spoiler segment of the pod. We're gonna go ahead and throw the gentleman hop upon our Entropy list. For those of you who do not know, the Entropy list is Back Row Banter's official list of all the movies we have reviewed, regardless of genre, regardless of anything else, all in one fantastic list. If you want to see the list for yourself, you can do so by checking the episode description where it is linked to my Letterboxd. The Gentleman. Episode 169, by the way, guys. Just thought I'd mention that for no reason.
Tripdig. That was B shortening triple digits, but kind of sounded like triptych.
It did sound like
Pushing,
triptych. That's what I thought you were trying to say. But also, I didn't mention that it was episode 169 because we're in triple digits. We've been in triple digits for
Yeah, I know, but
69
I
episodes.
just felt like saying triple dig.
Okay. Noted. I think this is going to go lower than it should.
Pushing 200.
That is also true.
Yeah.
We're getting there.
We're getting there slowly but surely.
Over 3/4 of the way.
Math.
I think it's going to go way lower than it should.
Okay. Where do you think you're going to be putting it? You're threatening to put it really low.
Well,
What's
I'm just
going
looking
on
at this
here?
list and I'm like, oh, I love that movie. I
Mm.
love that movie. I love that movie. And I'm only around like the 50s, 60s, So it's tough.
As we've said multiple times, though, it is a top-heavy list.
Very top heavy. Wow, La La Land. Well, I can't even. Wow, La La Land is at 80. That's hilarious.
I got a spot.
Go for it.
62.
See low. But 62.
See
where
low.
is it? No, that's actually pretty good. 62 would be below Top Gun Maverick and above Glass Onion.
Yes.
Okay.
Again, I think I referenced earlier, my kind of go-to after watching this movie was Bullet Train in terms of a comparable one in some ways. Saw that at 63. Saw Top Gun Maverick there at 61. I didn't think it was going above that because then you start getting into the Pig, Kill Bill, Deadpool, and then it's a short hop, skip, and a jump up to Barbie and Boys in the Hood and stuff. So some real heavy hitters up there. Below it, some other movies: Coherence, Tokyo Drift, Red Line, Initial Terminator, although that's kind of an odd one, and Doctor Sleep. But still, I think a pretty good kind of in between there for where this movie sits, and I think where it is, aiming to be as well too.
Okay.
So yeah, 62.
I like that spot. And as I've looked around, it's going to kill me because there are some movies, Weathering with You and La La Land in particular, that I would go, hey, don't know if I agree with this.
Yeah.
But as a whole, I'm right there at 64 with you.
Okay.
Below Bullet Train and above Coherence. Mainly because I just had a better time with Bullet Train off the rip,
Sure.
Bullet Train really caught me by surprise, had a great time with it. And I don't know if it's very close for me, but I do know in the heart of my hearts that I do like that movie more and had a better time on first watch than I did on this one. So I'm going to rock with 64?
64.
Yeah, 64. That's where I'm rocking. Ty, Blake, either of you guys got your spots yet?
I don't have a for sure spot, but I can tell you I'm probably going to be higher than both of you.
Okay, good. I'm glad. Bring that average up. It should be higher.
I think I'm going tough. I think I'm going 79.
Okay.
So I'll put it right
79.
below the OG Pro.
Below OG Predator. Okay.
And above Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio.
Did Paid in Full or District 9 have anything to do with this one for you, Blake?
Ooh, the Paid in Full was debatable for sure.
Okay.
District 9. I mean, I like it, but I don't have a quote unquote soft spot for it.
That's a good point. I forgot you did say that, I think, when we talked about it.
Yeah, I do like District 9 for sure.
But I get it. You got Blade, Predator right there as well too.
Okay, but you're locking in at 79.
Correct.
All right, Ty.
You guys are killing me.
You're right. It's my fault.
Well,
I mean, you could take your time, but these
Nathaniel-
listeners got places to be. So I mean, if you,
there's some bangers up above where he's at, and
there are a lot of bangers all over this list.
there are, and this has a lot of banger potential.
It does.
And I think maybe we're getting blinded a little bit. Blinded by the
That's
light.
exactly where my mind went. I'm glad you were there with me.
Dude, like Shang-Chi, fucking Doctor Strange. This is better than those for sure.
I agree.
Those are too high.
Um,
We can all agree.
like this has got a lot going for it, and I think I'm gonna be. Man, that's tough. I'm gonna do 50. I'm gonna do 50.
So above Guardians 3, below Scream.
Wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
Alright.
That is respectable. I can't hate that.
yeah. I think it has potential to get up a little bit higher on the list. Like, man, Requiem, Judas and the Black Messiah, fucking Easy Mama Tamiyan, piece of shit. No,
How dare
I want to rewatch that movie. Did I ever tell you I put it in a short film of mine that I made for class one time?
Maybe. No, I don't think so.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, we can talk about this in a second.
All right.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'll stay with 50. I think that gives it a really good spread on what's above it and what's below it, and I think that's kind of where it's going to go for now. I do think it has higher potential, but it's good there. I like 50.
Alrighty. What's that average us out?
63.75.
Just tie breaking it with
Bullet Train.
Bullet
Shoot
Train.
me in the bullet in the fucking head.
This is what, a 7-8?
Yeah. Now, before I have both of them up here before we do the IMDb break. Where's the Back Row
This is
Banter
above.
break? This is above for you,
above for me.
above for Nathaniel. It's below for me. So Blake, you determine if we go to an IMDb tiebreak. Is this movie above or below Bullet Train for you?
Oh, I think I've got to go Bullet Train.
All right. Well, that means we lose either way because The Gentleman is 7.8 and Bullet Train is 7.3, meaning we'll slot this in here at 63, above Bullet Train. Above Bullet Train, below Glass Onion. I low-key, maybe would put this above Glass Onion, but hey, that's neither here nor there. I don't know. Maybe it's it's my fault. I can't say that because I put it lower. Anyway, cool. Well, that's it for the review here. 63. Our next review will be a movie called The Big Lebowski.
The Dude Abides.
Is that a line for the movie, I'm assuming?
Yes, it is.
Never seen it. It will be my first watch. Anyone else's? Blake, have you seen that before?
I have not seen it.
Okay.
Wait, no, I have not. No.
Okay, cool. Yeah, that's on Netflix right now, and on Paramount Plus, I think too, and on maybe Peacock. It's a few places. I'm sure you can
It is
find
quite a few, yeah.
Yeah, so check that out. Watch that. Get back to us. Nathaniel and Ty, I'm assuming you guys have seen that probably, right?
Yes.
All right. Cool. But yeah, I used Y Tu Mama Tambien in a little short film I did for my first ever film class. This was my junior year when I was living in the Ross Street mansion, that house that I was living in. But anyway, I had to make a short film for, I don't know, it was was it my final project? Was it my final project or my second to last project? It was, one of the bigger ones. Anyway, and the story of the short film went, a guy got broken up with, doesn't know, he got cheated on, doesn't know the context of it, and so he hops on and he's playing Call of Duty with his friend or whatever, best friend, and as they're talking he gets a text from his ex-girlfriend saying hey, we need to talk, whatever, and then they're also talking about how their other friend in their group has been kind of weird lately, their other best friend. Turns out his best friend was the one that cheated on him, as the girlfriend. Classic, I got you, whatever. But at the very beginning of the short film, this is what to me makes it stand out as a very good piece of cinema, is at the very beginning, the opening shot is of Y Tu Mama Tambien, and then it pans to the guy on the bed, and it's the whole, brotherhood, broken trust, that kind of thing. So, I was cooking. I was cooking back then, I think it went over a lot of my classmates' heads. I don't know if anyone in that class, including my professor, had seen that movie, but it mattered to me. Okay, to me, I was like, "This is great."
The cinema gods looked down and smiled.
They did. I was feeling pretty good.
Should we talk a little bit about what we've been watching?
Yeah, it's been a while.
Okay,
been 3 weeks.
one thing I watched was the Fall of the House of Usher.
I heard that's pretty good.
Yeah, the Mike Flanagan Netflix series.
That's he's had what, 4 now?
4 or 5, yeah.
4 or 5,
say.
and I've heard good things about all of them.
Yeah.
So
yeah, the
good
only
for
one
him.
I haven't seen was the Midnight Society one, which I think I watched the first 30 minutes of or something, and it felt more like a Goosebumps kind of style show, or targeted for more that age group.
Really? Okay.
So I didn't end up watching that one.
The only thing I've heard about that one from one of the podcasts I listened to is that it was very preachy.
Oh, okay.
Like
life lessons.
Yeah, a little. Well, also Christianity
Oh,
preachy.
really?
Had a lot of that kind of stuff in it. I don't know. That's all. That's the one thing I heard. So I could be very far off.
Interesting. But yeah, Fall of the House of Usher is a new Netflix series. Came out, I want to say, middle of the month, just in time for Halloween, obviously. But it deals with easiest way to describe it is Succession via Edgar Allan Poe, because it is the structure of the fall of House of Usher, which is in the movie or in the series is this large medical family fortune and company, basically, and each one of the kids starts dying off, and they each kind of die off in a way that ties into an Edgar Allan Poe short story or another larger story that he had going, or something from a bigger story as well too. And it's all kind of neatly folded together in a very Mike Flanagan-y way. So yeah, I thought that was really fun. I enjoyed it. Thought it was a nice little movie for the season, I guess, and or film or series for the season. Sorry, and yeah, that was a recommend for me. I'll keep watching whatever he keeps making. So, fortunately, he hasn't really been able to talk about it or promote it because they're all still striking in solidarity with the actors.
Right.
Anyone else been watching some fun stuff?
Is that all you've watched?
I mean, there's a couple other things as well too, but I figured I'd let
Sure.
us go around.
I've been watching some stuff. Let's see. I don't know. It's been 3 weeks, so I've watched a lot. Watched a little bit of. Have you guys heard Too Hot to Handle?
Isn't that a Netflix reality show series?
Yeah, it's a reality show. They're all on an island together. They're all like models and Instagram models and just hot people, very hot people, and it's like a dating show.
Mm-hmm.
But they don't know they're on a dating, or they don't know the rules of it when they sign up for it. And the rules are you can't do anything sexual to each other. Like you can't kiss, can't really do anything, have sex, can't masturbate, can't do anything. And so like you're supposed to fall in love, but then also you can't do, if you do any of that stuff,
express publicly any affection.
You can't, there's nothing physical. So it's all supposed to be emotional connections, and that they're supposed to focus on emotional connections because of course they find hot people who just hook up with other people.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh no, this is a show about you actually getting in a
celibacy camp.
Right. So that's how they pitch it. But then if they do mess up and they do like kiss or do anything else beyond that, they're total, or they get a prize deduction from the total prize pool. So if you kiss somebody, everyone's pissed at you because you just lost them money.
Gotcha.
It's pretty entertaining. It's one of the only shows of that kind where I've been like, oh, I'm actually kind of like interested in watching more of this. So I put
See
on.
how the game plays.
Yeah. Pretty entertaining. But it gets a little repetitive. So I only watched the first season, started the
Fair
second
enough.
one, and I was like, I've seen this already. I'm sure the same shit happens. So I haven't really gone back to that much. The other thing I've watched, a little bit more notable probably, I watched the series finale. It's done, gentlemen, of Attack on Titan. It's finally over. It's over with a period. It's hard done over. There's no, season 4 part 3 version, 1.011 whatever the hell they were doing. It's been a long, because they started season 4 season 4, right? This is the last one?
I think
yeah,
so.
season 4. Started this last season in, I think, 2020. At the very end of 2020. November 2020, I think, is when they started airing episodes. And the show just ended. So what they pitched is the final season. They did first half of that season, and then they ended the second half of that season, I think, in like May of 2021. And then they were like, oh, actually, we're going to do... Or they spread it out maybe beyond that. Maybe it was like 9 months. It was like May of 2022, actually, I believe, is when the second half of the season ended. And they were saying, oh, that's going to be the end of it. And then the final episode came out. And the day it said it's the final episode, the day it came out, they announced, oh, there's actually going to be a movie. Don't worry, guys. The movie will be the finale. Movie comes out. Hey, guys, actually, it's 2 parts. So you get part 1 now, and we'll give you part 1 later this year. Or part 2 later this year, and finally part 2 came out. So it's been a 3-year season finale for the show.
Was it satisfying?
Here's the thing. Yes and no. I think they completely shot themselves in the foot spreading it out like this.
Sure.
There was so much momentum building and so much hype around it, I feel like back then, that like if they had just done what any normal person or studio should have done, regardless of the money grab or anything like that, like I think you would have made plenty of money. Is they should, like, if they want to I'm fine with them splitting this final season up into 2 halves and releasing them far apart, like whatever. Take your time. I'm fine with them doing a final movie. It's just this final movie should just. Why are you splitting that up into 2 parts? Because I mean, this is going to be very light spoilers. The first half of the finale cuts right towards like the climax. And it's like, the second half, the second chapter of the finale movie is like still an hour 40. So it's like, but it's like right when the action starts. So I press play on the second movie, not having rewatched the first half because the first half is very filler-y and it's just a lot of setup. And it's just the exact frame we cut at the end of chapter
and it's just
1.
go time.
And it's just go. And I'm just like, whoa, like complete whiplash because I don't know what the hell, like it's been months since I watched the first half of this.
Sure.
And, I'm like still caught up with it and everything. But it's just like you wanted me to just be right back in the moment of I'm so hyped for this. Let's go. It's the finale. Like, oh man, like what's going to happen? Like all this, it's finally here. And it's just like you keep having me press pause on that hype, and I can't, like, it was burnt out by the point that I got here. And I think, as an actual finale for the show was still, it was good enough to cement this show as like something that I think as a whole is incredible, regardless of its release schedule for this final season. I think Attack on Titan as a show and as a series has ended up being one of my favorite things ever. And I really, really enjoy it. And I think the finale was serviceable for doing that. But just the way it was released really killed how good it could have been, because if they had just released one movie, and they could have done very well with a theatrical release, in my opinion. After seeing how well the Demon Slayer movie did, Attack on Titan, I think, would have done gangbusters at theaters obviously more so in Japan than in the States, but I think it would have done very well in the States too. Enough people that's probably one of the biggest animes that there is over here. I think a lot of people
100%.
know Attack on Titan. It was in Turtles. It was in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. It was referenced in that movie.
Yep.
So like it's one of the biggest animes over here. It could have done very well in a theatrical release here. I don't know the line of thinking where it's not, hey, we're going to do one final movie. Let's do a theatrical release. Let's up the animation quality a little bit. Let's put some money into this and get a lot more money out. Instead, it was same animation quality as like the final season, which is very good. I'm not disappointed in that. It's just it wasn't spectacular for how much time it was taking. Same animation quality as the regular season, maybe a slightly upgraded. It was hard for me to tell for the most part, but slightly upgraded. And separated months apart. It was just so disjointed when like it could have been a very big event to have this finale come to a theater or just launch on one day, and they just they kept throwing the ball down the hill and didn't realize they hit the bottom.
Went out with a whimper rather than a bang. Huh?
Yeah, and it's really disappointing for how much hype I think this final season had, at least among my friends and like people I saw online. Like a lot of people were very excited for the final season, but that was 2.5 years ago. And then people were excited for the second half of the season, and then people were excited for the movie, and then they just keep dragging this out to the point where like this movie came out, and I didn't see a ton of people even talking about it, and like it hasn't been a big thing online. Where like, oh, have you seen the Attack on Titan finale yet? Like it didn't leave any of those moments to be had, and I just think it could have had those moments. Like the quality of the finale in the second half of the movie, and again, it's like so hard to talk about which part I'm talking about because the season 4 has been split up into 6 parts at this point. But the second half of this finale is good enough where it could have had those like, hey, have you seen this yet? Kind of things where like for Attack on Titan or anime fans. So just really disappointed in that scheme, or in that in that caper.
There you go.
But in terms of like just the overall events surrounding the movie itself, pretty good.
Cool.
Could have been, from what I've heard from my friend who read the manga, pretty close to the manga's ending.
Sure.
Which I've heard people don't love. I thought it was fine. I don't know how you can. I think you could have taken stronger choices, but I still think it leaves you in an interesting spot. for how all the characters in the story and everything like that. They do tie the strings that I think need to be tied. There's not a lot of loose ends left.
Sure.
Which is nice. It's not like leaving you wondering what happens here or happens there. Like they do tie all the bows. But bows could have been tied a little bit more interestingly, I guess. I don't know. Yeah. I want to, at this point, go back. I would love to go through the whole show
Yeah.
again, because that's the other thing watching this and even watching the first half was like, dude, have you guys even seen season 4 yet?
No.
Okay. That's hilarious to me because like it just turns into a different show.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. Have you seen some of it?
No, I've definitely seen like clips and that kind of thing. But
It's a different show than the first 3 seasons. Like it feels like the half of the show. I don't know. It feels like almost the show doesn't start until this season almost because there's how much changes, but there's just so much information thrown at you in the last season 4 that like I was having a hard time keeping up with it by the time I came around to watching this movie. So I'd love to give it a run through so I have my head straight on everything. And maybe I'll watch the dub because I'm interested to see because I've watched the whole thing in the sub.
sure.
And there's a lot of information that is kind of hard to grasp off the bat in the sub, just throwing at you really fast. And I wonder how they translate it in the dub.
Sure.
So maybe I'll watch the dub. I've watched other things, but that's
That was the big one.
the big one. That's what I wanted to talk about. That's my time. Ty, Blake?
Go ahead, Blake.
I've been watching the same thing as Nathaniel, so I've been watching The Fall of the House of Usher.
Heyo.
Honestly, not bad. I haven't finished it though. I'm on episode 6, I believe.
Okay.
So I'll definitely have more thoughts once I finish it. But honestly, I'm pleased so far.
Yeah.
It's got a lot of like undertones of like sex and stuff, way more than I would have thought. It's died off a little bit, but yeah, like the first like 4 episodes, I was like, oh my god. But yeah, it's really good. Obviously, Mike Flanagan, he's a pillar in the horror community, right? He's really good with his ghost references. A lot of shots have people walking in the background or ghost in the background and things of that nature. So there's always rewatchability in all of his. So yeah, I'll have more thoughts once I finish it. But yeah, overall, I really like it.
Yeah, I've really been, like I said, to go off there too. I really enjoy. Like Mike Flanagan's become a weird like comfort food for the horror like lover in me at this point, where I'm just like every October I know I got a little Mike
Like
Flanagan
a good
series.
caper.
Like a good caper. Yeah, exactly. Continue, Blake.
I think that was really it. I don't think I've gotten anything else. So yeah, just kind of thoughts on that. But it's my second favorite Flanagan series. I'd say that much.
Okay, for sure. Ty?
I'm gonna go for a little bit more of like not like super quantity, but I won't go really in depth in a lot of things. But
Sure.
I mentioned earlier I was watching Big Mouth. That's been a lot of fun. I have a lot of time to listen to things when I'm driving.
Sure.
So yeah, it's easy. It's very easy to hammer out 22-minute episodes of things. So yeah, I've been working my way through that. That's been a lot of fun. I did snap a couple of people like Nathaniel saying that I'm glad I found it again, because I did watch the first like 2 seasons when it originally came out, and then I completely fell off, and it's still funny. I kind of started my like back half of fall / beginning of winter annual rotations of things.
Oh yeah.
One of those things happens to be Dark Crystal. So
Okay.
I have restarted those on Netflix. There's 10 episodes and I'm like through 4. So been trying to savor them a little bit more. Been trying not to go like super back to back.
Did you
So,
start with the
that's
original
been a
movie
lot of fun.
first?
No, I did not.
Okay.
I actually didn't really even look for it. I just had like this like itch for the newer ones.
All right, fair enough.
Yeah, and as soon as like I saw the first title screen, it was like goosebumps. So I was like, all right, bet.
This was the right choice.
Yeah. Formula One.
Obviously.
I watched a little
having
bit
a-
of Brazil.
Yeah. been having some fun with that. Obviously, we already have our champ, but it's always good to see teams kind of go at it. Other drivers are obviously still fighting for other things.
Like second.
So yeah. And just benefits to like next year too, like sponsor money, stuff like that.
Yeah.
So
No, there's still things to be played for.
I know.
just funny. It's I don't know how many races you won this year. 15.
17.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah,
That's a
it's
lot.
insane.
There's a lot of races. I'm excited for Vegas though.
Yeah, Vegas is gonna be really cool.
Yeah, I'm excited to watch it.
Yeah, DR3 had a really good week, like 2 weeks ago, and then not terrible, and because of his this week. This week it was more because of the car and unfortunate things. But having him back out there is so much fun.
You think Checo's out?
Yeah, I think regardless of how
I don't think there's much
he would have to like beat Max off of like pure race or a master form that he would have to reach.
Yeah.
For them to keep him, I think regardless of how he finishes out this season,
I think at this point it's
already written him off.
Right, I agree.
I think they don't care. In the sense of like, yes, he can kind of take team orders pretty well, but like they don't even need to because Max is so far out ahead. So it's just kind of like Checo's just like fucking beating the shit out of the car. Unfortunate things happen during the weekend.
Yeah.
And like, so it's just, it's not, the Red Bull would rather try and go find another Max or, some way to just constantly, because they're trying to win for like the next fucking
forever.
Infinite.
Yeah.
Like they're not trying to fall off next year, and you never know. Max could have a bad year, or some people could improve on their cars, and like Max might not have the ease of every season that he has this year. So they got to think from a team benefit, and Checo's just not bringing in a ton of points this season.
with how far ahead Max has proven the Red Bull is over every other car, you need your second driver to be second on pole consistently. And it's like not like every race, but like he's just not been consistently on pole where he needs to be, or on the podiums, I mean, where he needs to be in a Red Bull. Just you can't look at what Max is doing and tell me the Red Bull is not the best car on the circuit and then not be on the podium as many times as Checo has not been on the podium,
Yeah. If he was really driving at his highest level, he'd probably be doing second, third, fourth, almost every single race. And he's had some DNFs that were absolutely his fault.
Yeah.
And he's had some just really, really tough times this season. So I think they'll just go after somebody that's younger, somebody that's going to be.
I don't think it'll be. I think
someone
could find. I think Checo might find another spot, but I don't think it's at Red Bull.
Yeah, I think he will too. I think he wants to stay on the grid.
What spots are up this year? Where's Bottas at on his Alfa Romeo contract? Because I know those are.
He's staying there.
Oh, is he? Okay. And when Joe Guanyu,
I can't tell you. I don't remember off the top of my head, but
okay.
Albon's going to be with Williams for sure.
Yeah.
Sargent has not signed anything. I would love to see Checo in a fucking Williams.
That'd be nuts.
That'd be funny. Checo and a Haas.
Yeah, I think Hulkenberg is definitely around to stay. I don't know about Magnussen. We'll see. But yeah, I mean, honestly, it doesn't really matter. Anybody could flip on their contracts as long as whoever is supposed to get money gets money. Like some of these people just don't give a fuck. That's why the whole DR3 thing happened. That's why Checo's probably just going to get paid out for the rest of his contract, and so you just never know.
There's a rumor for a bit it was going to be Mr. Lando Norris cutting out of his big contract early, but I didn't think
that would happen.
I don't think so either, right? And I think that's the right move for him. I don't think if you're Lando,
he's having too much fun.
Yeah, and if you're Lando, like everyone knows the position, the second seat at Red Bull is a second seat. You are not going to be competing for world championship. And if you're Lando, who like think you can, if you go there, you're locking yourself into second place. Anyone who takes
I don't
that
know,
seat.
man. Even if you take, team orders and stuff like that, like Max is gonna want you to race, like, because Max wants to race. Like,
But,
he's competitive as fuck, and
not.
so I don't think that there might be some things that come down to where, like, yes, he's the number one car,
It's just
but
I think they've made their point. He's who
Yeah.
they're prioritizing.
But I mean, you could go out there, be second in every single thing. Like, imagine if he had as many second places as Max had first, and like he's behind him the whole time, and then Max gets a couple DNFs because of car issues or something like that, and now you're heading points. Like,
yeah, I mean, you're not wrong, but
some of those guys are just ready to put themselves in the best possible position that they could put themselves in, which would be
not wrong.
in a fucking Red Bull, and you know.
You're not wrong, but at the end of the day, you also know in those situations where it could be you or Max, they're going to give it to Max 100% of the time. And that's
you just
tough
have to be
know.
okay with
Whereas
that.
like where Lando's at right now, he's getting paid a bag and he's on a car that has made a fantastic comeback this season and looks to, hopefully with all the sponsors that McLaren has gained, hopefully will continue that trajectory next season. I don't know. We've been saying that every year, but
I'd love to see DR3 in the motherfucking Red Bull.
I mean, I wouldn't be mad to see that happen again. And he'd be happy to take that second seat. He'd do whatever they say because he was out of a seat for a while. So I
to an
think,
extent.
Yeah.
He'd also want to show everybody that he's fucking. I'm
right.
I'm back.
Right. No, you're right. You're right. There's definitely gonna be some of that, but I think if I'm Ricardo, I would be very happy for any seat. To start on the
especially
grid.
in a Red Bull.
Especially in a Red Bull, that'd be sweet for him.
Yeah.
But yeah, no.
Then I've also been watching football. So,
cool.
Sorry.
There, you're good.
Lots of football. My fantasy season is fucked.
Yeah, mine is too. But I don't care about fantasy football. I'm full in on fantasy basketball. I'm in 3 leagues. Stressing. I've gone 6-0 to start the year though.
There you go.
But I think I'm gonna lose in my dynasty league this week.
Impressive.
Yeah. I do want to say, and we got to go, so I'll talk about this more next week. Invincible season 2. Anyone seen that yet?
I have not.
No.
Anyone seen the Adam Eve special ep?
Nope.
Okay, very good ep there. Make sure you guys watch that. Made me cry. And then season 1 or season 2, episode 1 is very good as well. I'll talk about that more next week. Hopefully, we got some time because that show's amazing. Cool. All right. Well, I think that's gonna do it here, folks, for our episode. Let's get on out of here. Nathaniel, any 5-star reviews?
No 5-star reviews this week, but if you want to give us a 5-star review in Apple Podcasts or Spotify, you can, and I will read it out here on the podcast.
You heard it here first. He will, in fact, read it out loud on the podcast. We don't have any emails, but if you want to send us an email, it's backrowbanterpod@gmail.com. While you're doing that, make sure you share the podcast, share with a friend, a family member, a gangsta, a toddler, I don't know.
A proper naughty boy.
A caper. And while you're doing that, also make sure you're following us on Twitter @BanterRow, on Instagram @BackRowBanterPod, and our YouTube. It's just Back Row Banter. Short and sweet. BlakeHolder, where can the people find you at, my man?
Letterboxd, BlakeHolder. I'll be on there logging some things, rating them out of 5 stars. Also, PSN, PlayStation Network, Mr. Watercoolers. I'm now playing MK1 online. So if anybody plays, holla at me.
He means right now.
As you're listening.
No,
to
yeah,
this.
actually, yeah, for sure. But yeah, that's all I've got. We'll go popcorn tie.
You can find me on Instagram, Letterboxd, and X. Tyler Vidalis. Who hasn't gone? Nathaniel?
Yep. You can find me on Instagram and Letterboxd @NS Gingrich. You can find me on Twitter or X or whatever you want to call it @NathanielG92. Sandpiper Tapes is my other podcast, Adam.
You, of course, can find me on Twitter @H24 and on Letterboxd @H. That's AYYSH. That's going to do it here for episode 169. Thank you all for joining us, especially if you made it this far into the episode. You're my favorite type of listener, and we really do appreciate it. Join us for our review of the Big Lebowski next week. We'll be RB.
Be excellent to each other, everyone, and we'll be RB.
Thanks for stopping by. We appreciate you. Sorry we couldn't get gentlemen a little bit further up on the list for you. Was it Yasik or right?
Yasik, Jack,
Yep.
Jasic.
Yep.
Whichever
Got it.
one.
Yeah.
I
So
don't know.
I tried.
I need to ask him what he
But,
prefers. I don't know. I've been calling him Yasik and he hasn't said anything, so I think I'm fine.
Probably.
Well,
Okay.
that's his name. That's
Let me
what I'm
know.
calling
Let
him.
me know, Yasik.
So yeah, sorry we couldn't get it up on the list for you, but we appreciate the recommendation and pass on love, and we'll BRB.
Thanks for the support. As always, we appreciate it. We wouldn't be able to continue this podcast if it wasn't for you. So we'll BRB.
America. Ready for another lesson.
It is good to see the boys back.
Timmy Tenders.
Tim.
Talking about Fortnite?
Tim and Nick playing together again. Together.
Oh, yeah, I
again.
was just talking about the boys, like the good old days.
Yeah.
Verdansk,
Birdos.
simpler times.
I don't miss it. Are you getting a new COD tomorrow?
There's a new COD tomorrow.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm gonna get it right away. I might just like push off to the weekend.
It comes out tomorrow.
I don't
doesn't
know.
it?
I don't know, honestly.
November 8th.
I have not
Is this the
been paying
Modern
attention.
Warfare 2 remake that I've heard everybody?
It's
Yeah,
Modern
but
Warfare
it's called
3. It's a
Modern
remake
Warfare
of Modern Warfare
3.
2 from 2009.
Fucking dumb.
Yeah, their naming scheme is really stupid and
So fucking.
doesn't even
stupid.
need
What-
to
what
be.
Are you doing? Yeah, why?
Like just
Why
call
are you
they should
doing
just
that?
called the MW 2019 MW4 and called the one from last year MW. Like, why are you going back? Like, why are you rebooting
It's so fucking dumb.
dude, I just can't fathom it. But
Tomato.
Tomato.
You good dog?
are you, yo, what? Yo, wait.
Tomato.
Yeah, I was just booing Call of Duty.
Just
I'll-
fucking
I'll-
see him looking at like cables and like be like tomato. Be like, yo, is my guy okay?
Blake just short circuited.
I'm a grown ass man.
Simulation, dude.
Yeah, his Westworld.
You just went full NPC.
just unplugged. for a few
Hell.
seconds.
tomato.
Oh, holy shit.